Addiscombe in the London borough of Croydon once housed a military academy used to train officers in the East India Company regiments. 150 years on, and travel and education are still key to Addiscombe's attraction, with a sought-after school and excellent transport links via the Croydon tram link. So up for auction was a 3-bed end of terrace with a guide price of £295,000. So sounds fairly standard. But what is interesting about this property is a little line under the title potential where it says suitable for a loft/mansard conversion and extension. Now potential like that can certainly be very interesting indeed. Time to go in and explore. Right, so it's a little bit shabby on the outside and very dated on the inside, but I'd never let that put you off because obviously whoever takes this on is going to come in here and splosh some paint around, not keen on the yellow, update the carpets, you know, it is dated, but it can get only better. So I'm thinking already it's a great space, a really big lounge. Wow, that is super, brilliant for a family, although the double glazing looks like it may need to be replaced. Through here, bit of a galley kitchen, so it looks a bit crammed in, and there is so much stuff in this house. Talking about being crammed in, whoever takes this property on is going to have to get a skip outside and clear it out because there's lots of stuff in here. And right at the back, again, a massive room. So this is the second reception room. You could have this as a really nice dining area. You could go back and think about knocking this wall down here to have the kitchen, dining room as one big family space. I always think that really works well. It's so much more sociable. Come over here. This ain't so great. Now look at this. It's a little plastic corrugated roof going on there, more of a lean-to. You've got some doors leading out to the garden. So you've got a couple of options. You could just tear it down, or you could think about working within permitted development and creating a little extension out there because I think that would be nice. So a lot to do. As you can see, look, very dated, very messy. You need to put a lot into this house, but it's got space and it would be ideal for a family. Now that banister on the stairs could be dangerous for young children due to the large gaps, so that will need replacing. But after that, the news gets better with 3 good-sized bedrooms up the stairs, 2 doubles and a single, along with a family bathroom. It all feels very spacious, at least it could feel spacious. Yes, I think a call to a local skip hire is in order. There is so much clutter here that it's going to have to be cleared out before you can do any work. And if downstairs needs clearing and upstairs needs to be cleared too, you'd probably guess the back garden needs clearing as well. Still, once all that's done, there's no doubt that it is a good size. So let's go and have a look. Now, as I said earlier, the catalogue hinted at the possibility of going up into the roof. So if you did want to do that, there's one thing you need to decide. What type of conversion do you go for? Now, the 3 most common are, you've got the roof window conversion, where you just put a window in line with the roof, but you will need high ceilings in the attic space for that. You've then got the dormer roof conversion, where you add a window, which is also built out on the roof, so you create a bit of extra space. And then you've got, well, like our neighbours, the mansard conversion, which lifts the whole side of the roof, creating so much more space, but much more disturbance outside, which means more regulations and, of course, neighbours to keep on board. Now, there are examples of each type of conversion all along the street. So what you go for really depends on your budget and the value it could potentially add to the property. For a bit of expert advice, we've asked along a local estate agent to see if he thinks a conversion is worth the investment.
In my opinion, when doing a loft conversion, it's always better where possible to do a mansard roof or a proper dormer extension, and that way you can definitely get 2 bedrooms rather than just maybe 1 big loft room. If this was my property, I'd also think I would do a rear extension and maybe open up the kitchen to the dining room and make that a nice big open family space.
Well, I couldn't agree more. That old lean-to has seen better days. But if completed, what would a new extension out the back add to the value of the property?
The property just being left as it is would sell for approximately £400,000. Doing the rear extension and refurbishing to a good standard, this property would sell in excess of £450,000.
And if you were to add the new extension and convert the attic space?
Doing the loft extension with a proper dormer conversion at the back, I think you would get 2 bedrooms and therefore the property would sell for approximately £500,000.
With a lot to be done here, this certainly cries out as a great investment opportunity, and with a catalogue also pointing out that loft conversion potential. Surely this must have been a popular lot when it went up for auction. Let's find out.
So end of terrace house here does require a bit of TLC, this one. What should we say for it? Should we start at 300, see where we go? We will. You were first, 300. What are you saying? You at 305? Thank you, sir. 305, 310, 315, 320, 325, 330, 335. No. Absolutely sure? Come back to you in a minute. Yours at the moment at £330,000. 335 and or else. Take a couple of £1,000 if it helps you or anyone else. Otherwise, we're here at the front at £330,000, and we will sell unless we can do better. At 330,000 then for the first, 330 for the second, third and final time at 330. Yours at the front have been a 946. Thank you very much.
Now that cheery bidder was Chris, who, along with wife Pauline, bought the property with a bid of £330,000. And if they look familiar to you, well, that's because they've been on the show before. They're full-time property developers who gave up city careers in finance and bought a mid-terrace house in Croydon, where Pauline used her creative flair, well, to make it very nice indeed. Guys, congratulations. Lovely to see you again, Pauline and Chris. Now, you've been very busy. This is the second time we've seen you on the show. But I noticed at this auction there weren't that many people bidding for this property, were there?
No, I think there was people living here up until recently, and hence why there wasn't that many bidders, I think.
So do you think that put people off, that they couldn't get in to see the property prior to it going under the hammer?
Yeah, I think so, massively. I mean, not many people buy them blind, so... Yeah.
So tell me, Chris, why did you want this?
This one, it's a nice house, nice size, and the price was right on the day, which is the important part.
Yeah, I really think you're right. It's a really lovely, spacious house. And, you know, I can imagine with a bit of your magic sprinkled on the top, it's going to be fantastic. So I'm really intrigued to find out, what are you going to do here?
Well, the extension thing they've got at the minute, that'll probably get knocked down and rebuilt.
Hold on a minute. What do you mean extension thing?
I'm not quite sure what it is. Yeah.
Yes, it's that corrugated plastic that I see quite often on this programme.
That's got to go.
So, and that might go deeper because we'll have to go 3 metres. So I think it's about 1.5 metres at the minute. So we might go further into the garden with that. So that might become the kitchen, so dining space. That wall will probably come down and make a nice kitchen diner, so you got a decent sized kitchen, and then everything else you just tidy up, really.
So come on, babe, let's kiss this thing goodbye.
So we can kiss goodbye to that old lean-to and look forward to saying a big hello to a nice new extension. But what about the attic? Will there be some new rooms up there?
No.
Now that's interesting. Is it because funds won't allow, or do you not think it needs it?
It's not so much the funds won't allow, it's more the time factor. It'd extend the project by a good sort of 2-3 months, and we're hoping to be in and out and on to the next one.
One of the ways to try and make a profit flipping property is make sure you have a very quick
Turn around.
So I can see their logic, and having experienced delays with solicitors when selling their previous properties, Chris and Pauline have come up with a plan so that they can get an even tighter, what's the word?
Turn around.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Well, as soon as we're ready to sell the house, we're going to get all the searches done, then we can just pass them to the buyer, and then hopefully that saves a few weeks. Then they're not waiting to do them from when they've put the offer in sort of 1 or 2 weeks after we put the house up for sale. With the last one, it pretty much took longer to sell it than it did to renovate it.
So that really is a really good tip to anybody looking to sell, really, isn't it?
Potentially, if it works, yeah.
But this is the first time you're going to be doing that to
Yeah.
see if that really does speed things along.
Yeah.
Well, they've thought out their plan. They've given themselves a budget of between 20 and 30,000, a timescale of 3 months to get it done, and then they have their secret weapon. Pauline has been taking interior design classes, and she has got 1 or 2 ideas.
I like things contemporary and understated, but sometimes I like a bit of pop of colour. But Chris reins me in. He reminds me it's not our house. Stop doing that. No, my purple toilet in my house is fine, but not for a project.
I think we need to see a little bit of Pauline's personality.
It's difficult to get it right because we want it to be interesting enough so it's got a wow factor, but boring enough that anyone can move into it. It's no one going, yeah.
We're not doing boring. Can I just tell you that now? We're not doing boring. I'm working on the bifolding doors.
You do have a fabulous garden here, and I'm all for letting the light come flooding through and having that sort of outside garden room. What are your reasons for not going along that route?
Cost.
Oh, money cost.
It's always about money.
Which, of course, you're going to benefit from at the end of the day.
I have my eye on a couple of things.
So what have you got your eye on?
Oh, another handbag or something.
I thought you meant for the property.
Not for me. My favourite in
I've
kind.
worked really hard. I should get a handbag or something.
Guys, I'm so excited to see the outcome. Will you be extending, won't you? Will I see those French doors, won't I? I know I won't be seeing any magnolia, that's for sure. It's been lovely seeing you again, and I look forward to seeing the end result here. Pauline, thank you.
Great to
Chris,
see you again.
good luck.
Thank you.
So, Chris and Pauline are back for more. Will we return to see the extension and the lovely bifold doors at the back here? Or will Chris keep a tight rein on the budget? And Pauline, join us later in the programme and you can find out how they get on. Welcome back to Addiscombe in Croydon, where I was looking at this 3-bed terrace with a guide price of $195,000. It wasn't easy to appreciate the space here because it was a bit full. There is so much stuff in this house. Whoever takes this property on is going to have to get a skip outside and clear it out. I had no doubt that once the house had been cleared, that it would feel spacious. But there was even more room for expansion.
Up on the roof, up on the roof.
Yes, this house was ideal for an attic conversion. It was bought by husband and wife developing team, Pauline and Chris. Now, Pauline was hoping that her design course and love of colour would transform this drab house. No magnolia here, but would they be converting that attic?
No.
Now, that's interesting. Is it because funds won't allow?
It's not so much the funds won't allow, it's more the time factor. We're hoping to be in and out and on to the next one.
Time was of the essence, and they decided that time spent converting the attic would just eat into their profits. However, they did intend building a new extension at the rear and had a decent budget of 20 to 30,000 and a timescale of 3 months to do it. So did these experienced developers manage their speedy schedule? Almost 5 months later, and we're back to find out. There is suddenly room to breathe here now. What a transformation. Chris and Pauline have created the airy home that this place always had the potential to be. The walls have been skimmed and damp-proofed, and thanks to the decoration, the rooms look modern and welcoming. Let's hear from the interior designer and chief, Pauline.
For this room,
was completely filled with rubbish when we first got it, and we spent a few days clearing it all out. And my vision was to make it nice and neutral and just to showcase what a lovely living room it could be. So we picked greys because it's a good background colour, and when you have splashes of colour like the rug and the cushions, it kind of puts a bit of life and personality into the room. So yeah, all in all, I'm quite happy with how it turned out.
It looks effortlessly stylish, even though it was probably anything but. Did they have any problems during the renovation?
Initially, it was just the amount of junk that was left in the house. I was spent literally thousands on clearing it out.
Never ever underestimate the cost of clearing out a house. Skips can end up eating into your budget. What about that other big issue with this house? That back extension.
The other big problem was the extension was built to a very, very low quality. It's more of a lean-to than an extension. So we decided in the end to knock that down and rebuild it, which had effects on our sort of time and budget as well.
And here's how it looks now. Wow.
Well, the back of the house is where it made the biggest changes. It was the old lean-to extension that was here. We just knocked it down and rebuilt it properly up to current building rig standards. So it's all nice coated walls, insulated, we've put the roof lights in. We've also knocked down the wall between the dining room and kitchen. And yeah, it's our first sort of big build on a project, and we're really pleased with the results.
Much like the rest of this house, I think the open plan living area looks great. It seems Chris and Pauline really do make a good team. Were there any arguments?
I'm married to a control freak, right? He says he gives me complete free rein. But you know when you pick your colours, and he looks at it, he goes, oh no, not different colours for every room, it's budget and all this, you know. But generally speaking, he came around to my way of thinking most of the time.
One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
Oh, now that's a mean music choice. Chris is no pushover. After all, Pauline didn't get the bifold doors she wanted. Speaking of money, how did they get on? Sticking to their £20,000 to £30,000 budget. Uh-oh, come on, out with it.
We sailed through our original budget, but it was a sort of thought-out expense. As soon as we decided to rebuild the extension properly, rather than just patch it up, the extension would take a good 30,000, and the rest of the house was going to be a good 30,000 as well.
But having bought the property for $330,000, they've now spent a total of 60 grand on the renovation and taken almost 5 months rather than the original 3. Will that additional spend be worth it? We've asked along 2 local estate agents to see what they think of Chris and Pauline's handiwork.
The house is actually non-recognisable from the last time I saw it. In particular, I really like the kitchen dining area. They've opened it up. It's really modern, it's bright, it's spacious. It's what buyers would really want in this area.
I think the look and the finish of the house is really nice. It's appealing, it's nice and warm, very cosy. And most importantly, it appeals to someone who's coming in and makes them feel like that I can live in here, this is my home.
Well, the couple always intended selling on this property. Could there be a profit for them if they did decide to let it out?
The rental for this property would be approximately £1,750 per calendar month.
Rental-wise, I would probably expect them to get around about £1,800 per calendar month.
With a total spend of $390,000, that would give Chris and Pauline a top rental yield of 5.5%. But it's the sale value that they are really interested in.
This property I would have put on the market for around £475,000, maybe £480,000.
I think the value of this property, as it's done, would be around the £480,000 to £490,000.
Well, it's under offer at 479, so it's exactly on the line.
Bang on. Good.
Well, that's brilliant news. Chris and Pauline have already accepted an offer of $479,000, which would give them a profit of 89 grand, minus the usual taxes and expenses. So I think the big question on everybody's lips is, does that mean Pauline gets a new handbag?
Oh, yes.
Oh, is that your treat from this, is it?
No.
You haven't even got the money yet.